Good morning to you once again, good friends, and welcome to our Sunday series. You may already know the story of the elderly man in a care home who gave a jar of mixed nuts to one of the members of the staff. And his carer was particularly grateful and expressed it to him. And his response was, don't be too grateful, he said, because actually these were given to me by my daughter. But my teeth aren't able to cope with nuts anymore. But he went on to say, I did enjoy sucking off the chocolate coating before I put them back into the jar. Now, the subject of aging is quite a difficult one because all of us have got a measure of sensitivity with regard to it. And getting older, it's not one of our favourite occupations. John Stott wrote, aging is a series of small bereavements. Now that's really quite a perceptive comment. I'm not likely to win an Olympic gold medal now, am I? So that's a dream that has to be put to one side. Nor will I ever be James Bond and save the world once a week. Nor am I going to become Archbishop of Canterbury. So those dreams are past. As we age, certain dreams have to be set aside. But we would make a big mistake if we stopped dreaming altogether. For whilst aging may be a series of small bereavements, it can also be a series of considerable opportunities. Joel, the prophet in the Old Testament, prophesied that the young would see visions, but he said that the elderly would dream dreams. Look again with me today at the life of Abraham and Sarah from 4,000 years ago. They'd been trying to have children all their married life, but nothing had happened for them. It was a double disappointment because not only were they failing to conceive, but also Abraham had been promised to be father of a great nation. And that wasn't going to happen now. Then, unexpectedly, they're visited by three men, whom they welcome to their tent. In the course of conversation over a meal, one of the men says that he'll be coming back the following year when Sarah gives birth to a son. Sarah overhears the conversation from outside the tent and she laughs to herself. 1, she's now too old. 2, Abraham is too old as well. 3, they've been trying for decades and nothing has happened. 4, she's long since given up hope of being a mother. Her laughter is not laughter of joy, but laughter of skepticism. However, the following year, she does give birth to a son, and Abraham names him Isaac, which means he laughs. The Epistle to the Hebrews in the New Testament comments about this event, that from this one man, and he as good as dead, in other words, he was too old, from this one man, and he as good as dead, came descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky, and as countless as the sand on the seashore. Today, his physical descendants, the Jews, can be numbered in millions, whilst his spiritual descendants, the Christians, can be numbered in billions. Abraham fulfilled his destiny in his later years. So too may we. When Sarah laughed in disbelief at the news that she would have a child, she added these words, "After I am worn out, will I now have this pleasure?" Can there be pleasure, laughter, happiness for those who are worn out, for the aging? Yes, indeed. It's never too late for these things. It's never too late to love. Doesn't matter how old a person is. If we see love in their eyes and hear love in their voice and love in their conversation, then we find them attractive. Young people do too. which is why they are drawn to the loving elderly. Love is a daily choice for us, a decision we can make at the beginning of each day, that we'll love all whom we meet during the coming hours. It's never too late to grow old gracefully. The process of growing old is never complete until we close our eyes for the last time. There's still time to develop an outgoing, caring, listening, selfless, uncomplaining, forgiving, generous character. These things may have already been growing in us over the decades, and now is the chance for us to give greater attention to them and to allow these Christ-like characteristics to increase in us still more. It's never too late to be influential. The older we become, the greater our experience of life, and the greater our experience of life, the greater our wisdom, or at least that's the way that it's meant to be. The greater our wisdom, the more people will want to hear what we have to say. The opportunities we have for influence over the rising generation and the one beyond is immense. Who will want to listen to us? Maybe we laugh with skepticism at this point, but we shouldn't, because some will listen. And for others, our words will come back to them in years to come, maybe well after we have gone from this world. Being an influencer is not just for the young on social media. It's never too late to pray either. We may not have done it very much in the past, but as we age, we're given more time. And with all of the restrictions that COVID has created, there's more space than ever. We can develop a rhythm of prayer at the same time every day when we go to the Lord and think before him about the people whom we love and care for. And as we bring them and their needs to mind, there's a very simple question to ask ourselves. What would I really like to see to this person? When we have the answer, then all we have to do is to ask the Lord for that very thing for them. This is the way to pray. We place ourselves in the position of the person we're praying for, and then ask the Lord for what we think we would need the most. Paul the Apostle did that when he asked that the Christians in Ephesus might grasp how wide and long and high and deep is the love of Christ. He prayed that they might have a 4-dimensional experience of God and live within it. That's a pretty good prayer to offer for anyone. It's never too late to tell our faith story either. Last week we spent a few days with a couple who've been friends for more than half a century. Listening to their life story, we said that they should write a book about it, to which they replied, "No one would ever believe it." Haven't we got stories of the goodness of God to share with others? Perhaps others won't believe it, but some may, and they too will be inspired by what they hear. Those lovely stories of things that happened to us weren't just for our encouragement, but for the encouragement of others as well. Just as we are being inspired today by the story of Abraham and Sarah, so others may be inspired by what the Lord has done for us. It's never too late to have pleasure and laughter either. Those things are not selfish and sinful, but attractive and appealing. In our aging, we can focus on our small bereavements or on our considerable opportunities. We can focus on what is behind, or we can focus on what lies ahead. We can focus on what we have lost, or we can focus on what we still have to gain. The rich and the poor, the clever and the dull, the old and the young, all have one thing: today. We only get one day at a time. Let's get hold of it and use it. Carpe diem. Seize the day. Maybe today is the day when we fulfill our destiny and our Isaac is born. He laughs. God bless you.